Good morning. Good Vach. We're going to begin now a brand new mimer in Parshas Behar from the Likkutei from the Alter Rebbe, the Baal HaTanya. The mimer is, if you're using the regular Likkutei, so it's in page 78, on page 78, and in the bottom, the first Dibra Maschel Ki Sovei La'aretz. This mimer was said by the Alter Rebbe on Parshas Behar B'chukoisei. It was said on Chof Beis Ear, Tov Kuf Samach in Liozna. As we explained many times, that the Alter Rebbe had different manichim, different choizrim that wrote down the mimer the way they understood it, and then the Tzemach Tzedek chose and put together the Likkutei from Mamorim, even though he himself as well was one of the transcribers. This nusach was said and was placed from the Hanochas of the Maharil, Alter Rebbe's brother. So this week's parsha says that when you come to the land which I am going to give you, when you come to Eretz Yisrael, so Hashem says, V'shav sa'aretz Shabbos la'Hashem. Hashem says that the land has to rest for on the 7th year, and then the pasuk says, Shei shanim tizar sadecha, Shei shanim tizmar karmecha. So all the Mefarshim ask, and the Alter Rebbe brings down, Hine mashmois hakosuf. If you read the pasuk simply, Ki miyad ki sovei la'aretz, it seems that right when you come into Eretz Yisrael, v'shavsa, you have to celebrate Shemitah. Koidim she'aschilu hashei shanim, before the 6 years, because once it says Ki sovei la'aretz asher ani nesim lachem v'shavsa ha'aretz Shabbos Hashem. So what does it mean v'shavsa ha'aretz? Shemitah. And then it says Shei shanim tizra sadecha v'shei shanim tizmar karmecha. And then it says again that you have to rest. So is resting before? Like, how does it work? Usually we know the halacha is 6 years you work the land. On the 7th year, then it's Shemitah. So Alter Rebbe says, understand this by first prefacing this that Shloimy HaMelech writes in Shir HaShirim, in Perek Hey, Pasuk Beis. Shloimy HaMelech says, Pischu li achoisi, open for me. Achoisi means my sister. Ra'ayasi, my friend. So the Alter Rebbe teaches up, what does it mean? Pischu li achoisi ra'ayasi. This is going on. Sh'amar Kadosh Baruch Hu l'Knesset Yisrael. Hashem tells the Yidden, Pischu li, open for me, b'chtei shetia b'vchinas achoisi ra'ayasi. In order that we should have the level of achoisi ra'ayasi, my sister, and the Alter Rebbe is going to explain what each phrase is, what's achoisi, what's ra'ayasi, but simply, in order for the level of achoisi ra'ayasi to be active, Hashem is saying, Pischuli, open for me. And he's going to explain what that means. So he says, Hagam Knesset Yisrael Nikras Tamid B'Shem Zeh, even though the Yidden are always called the level of achoisi ra'ayasi, B'kol Mokem P'chinazu Pa'amim Shibis Galus U'Pa'amim Shib Mechus U'Musateres. This level, this revealed level, or I should say this level of achoisi ra'ayasi, sometimes is revealed, sometimes it's hidden. That's what Hashem says, Pischi. Or what does it mean, open for me? To reveal, to remove that which is blocking, in order that this level of achoisi ra'ayasi should be in a revealed way. So what does Hashem say? He says, Pischi, which means open for me. So we have this level of achoisi ra'ayasi, but it's blocking. You have like a blockage. So what does Hashem say? Hashem says, open for me. Take away that blockage. And once you take away that blockage, then automatically that level of achoisi ra'ayasi will be revealed. So the Alter Rebbe says, to understand this level. What does it mean, this level, that when it's revealed, what exactly is concealing, what is the garment that's concealing this revelation of achoisi ra'ayasi? So he says like this, what does it mean achoisi? Achoisi is meloshin ichui alachsandris shibigemara. It's like like an Italian knot. The Gemara says in Mayit Kotten, this is a Gemara on Daf Chavav Amud Beis. So he says, the Havik Yishalim, Rashi says, Ezu Ichoi Kol She'enim Mekoymi Nikar. Says Yerushalmi, what's the Ichoi when it's so tied together that you don't really see the beginning and the end. So what's the idea of Ichoi? Achoisi, I'm sorry. Achoisi is Shumaloshin Chibur. It's like connecting. It's connecting. That you're connecting two things to be mamish one. So v'kacho derech mashal, same thing by Hashem. This natural love that the Yidden have, that the souls have from where they're carved out, which they are mamish, a part of Hashem, mamish. Like the Rebbe says in Tanya that the nefesh of the kis, mamish comes from Hashem's, from the source of the neshama, comes from mamish carved out from Hashem, and it's one with Hashem at the ultimate oneness. So when we're saying achoisi, what does it mean? That means that the neshama and Hashem are one in a way that you can't even tell the difference between them. So therefore, the Alter Rebbe says, so when it comes down over here, after it's created from ayin liyesh, and then the neshama comes down and it encloses itself in the body and the vital soul, the nefesh hachiyunis, zoisi midas tzadikim. This is the attribute of tzadikim. It's nefesh alikis asher b'kirbam, since the tzadik has a nefesh alikis which is inside of him, and this is what's overpowering him. So choshkam uchukasam hisgalel be'erin seif libatum mitzius elavis barach b'chles nefesh mamish b'umkud liba. So since the tzaddik has his nefesh alikis, which is enclosed in him, he desires to be one with Hashem and to be like totally submissive, totally batal to Hashem in a way of kleis nefesh, that his soul expires from the depths of his heart. And his all of his days, he's in a state of bittul because of the nature of his soul, which this becomes his nature. And he does not need any contemplation in order to arouse this love, because it's natural. And he says, here's a pasuk in Tilim, it says, Im zacharticha yitzui b'ashmeris ega. Like you remember in the morning, so it's like a natural love. And it says also, that this love is when you're lying down, when you're in your house, when you're on the way, when you wake up, when you're in your house, etc. It's like a parable, an analogy of like the love that siblings have. A sibling has natural love without any contemplation. And this is the Ava, the true Ava, from the level of, it's called emes la'amitei, which is like a true truth. When you use the expression emes la'amitei, that means that it's true automatically. There's no like separation. There's no. It doesn't stop. This is a natural love. Now, sometimes siblings can fight. They can be upset at each other. So if they have a natural love, what happened? Because it's being blocked by external things, being blocked by drama, or whatever. But by nature, they have this natural tendency, this natural love. However, when this love is not implanted in the heart of a person, it only is aroused at specific times. For example, b'shas krishma, if it's either krishma or shmon esrei, and then afterwards it goes away. So then, ein ha'avazun yikras b'shem avas emes la'amitei. So you can't call this love emes la'amitei, because emes la'amitei means that it's always there. It's in love that never stops. So when a person has this love to Hashem, but it's like up and down, Krishman davening, he feels it, and then he goes to work and he doesn't feel it anymore. So it's not. You can't say that love is not emes. It's emes. It's just not emes la'amiti. The hainum nekudas and nefesh mamish. In other words, from the nekuda of emes itself, kiim b'shem svas emes. It's called like the Navi, like the Mishlei says, svas emes. It means it's called like the svas literally means the lips of truth. Melashon sofa lepiv. It's an expression of like the end of the hemp of the garment. Kim b'shem svas emes. Melashon sofa lepiv shu imri shesviv habeged. This is like the bottom of the beged. The hainu svas habeged v'katzeo. It's like like you have like on the tzitzis, you have sometimes those things, little
bell bottoms.
What do you call bell bottoms? Yeah, you said. Yeah,
Tassels.
So you have like tassels. So tassels they're part of the beged, but they're not part of the beged. So too when you say emes, svas emes, that means that there's some truth over there, but it's like the tassels. It's like not 100% part of the beged. So too, in a way, in an analogy, so this love that comes by arousing, in other words, by krishma and tefillah, so that's in a way of svas emes. B'hainu ascholas emes is the beginning of truth. It's not called the actual level of emes. That's why it says in Zer, svas emes tikin la'ad. What does it say? That the svas of truth is established forever. So it says kinanta la'ad leiksiv. It doesn't say kinanta la'ad, but tikin la'ad. It just says the word tikin la'ad. Okay, so just to quote the whole Zayar, it says the Zayar means that if it would have said svas emes kinanta la'ad, then it would be forever. But now that you're saying tikkun, so we're saying that eventually the svas of truth is going to be established, which is not there now. In other words, now you have like the svas of a sheker. So, I guess he's speaking about either when Mashiach comes. I'm not really sure exactly what there's there. I think it's when Mashiach comes, but basically the pasuk says, in Mishlei, svas emes tikkun la'ad. The svas emes will be like established forever. Now it doesn't say svas emes kinanta la'ad. If it would have said kinanta la'ad, it would mean that it's there. It's always emes. Tikkun la'ad means that eventually it will be emes. Okay. Uksiv also it says karav Hashem l'chol karav. Hashem is close to all who call him. L'chol asher yikru b'emes, to all those who call him in truth. B'emes daike. It has to be in truth. Hainu b'nekuda emes v'lei b'svas emes. It has to be in the way of emes, but not in the way of svas emes. So he says, since when he has this state of svas emes, so he needs to constantly arouse this love. It doesn't become part of his nature from the heart. So if it's not 100% always there, so why are you calling it emes? So the Rebbe says, you're still calling it svas emes. Because at the end of the day, at least at that moment, by krishma or by tefillah, or whenever that is, whenever you have that love that comes out of that time, so for that moment, it's truth. Every person according to his capacity, the way he can handle it. And even after davening, he still has some type of residue left, that by remembering Hashem, it arouses in him a love to Hashem. Also, he could be mekayim what the pasuk says. Okay, so he says like this. So the reason why this love does not go into the Nekudas Alev, because this love, what are we saying? That every Yid has a natural love to Hashem, which the neshama of a person comes from the source, is carved out like mamish from Erin Seif. So l'chayra, when it comes down over here, what's stopping the love? What's stopping the love from going into the nekuda salev? So he explains that the love that's enclosed, the love that comes, in other words, the neshama that comes, that has this love, this burning love to Hashem, at the end of the day, when it comes into the body, it encloses itself in the power of having desires, the dvarim gashmim, for physical things, which comes from an nefesh hachiyunis, which comes from the vital soul. Which the source of that comes from the coarseness, gasus haruach, mashcha dechivya, which this is the mishcha dechivya. Mashcha dechivya means the skin of the serpent, snake's skin. Hachoifif umaster al koyach b'chinas abazu, which conceals and covers over this love. So a person there's a natural love, but you have the koyach hamisava, you have the koyach of desiring, and the koyach of dvarim gashmim, the type of koyach gashmim, gasus haruach, which that blocks the natural love. V'yesh b'darga shenis, there are many different levels. Kama mini levushim, there are different types of garments. Hakotan lefi kotnei, v'agodol lefi godol ma'aloso. You have the person, the child has his blockage that he has that's covering over his love. The gadol has his blockage that covers over the love. So now, what's the aveda? Aveda is you have to remove even that garment, that gasus haruach, which is blocking the natural love. In other words, gaiva, arrogance. As the Gemara says, Amar Razal, Hashem says, Ein ani v'hu. Hashem says, we just had this in Seitam, Hashem says, I cannot live with the arrogant person. Okay, so now, so you have to open up you have to open up the cover that's blocking the love. Gives an example. It's like a person who wants to open up a hole. You have a hole in the wall, and this hole is like you want to get rid of it. So what do? So you have to now break the wall until you make like an empty spot. So to a person that he has this natural love, and he has this love which is embedded into the heart. So what does he do? He wants that this love, he wants that this love should actually be and go into the depths of his heart. So what does he do? So what does he have to do? A Yid has a natural love, like we said, that a Yid's neshama comes from the source of Hashem. He's one with Erin Seif, so when he comes down over here, why doesn't it go into the Nekudas Alev that he has this level of emes always? Because he has the koyach of taivus and the koyach, and he has gasus haruach, arrogance, that blocks this love from being revealed. Razal, and this is what Razal tell us. Hashem says, "Pischuli kichudish amachat." Open for me up like a needle, a hole the size of a needle. And Hashem says, "Va'ani eftach lachem," and I'm going to open for you ki pischoi shal ulam, like the opening of a hall. Shahaya lefnei ahechel bebeis hamikdash ki abolatar mesayin eisei. This was the heichel before the Beis Hamikdash. That, as we know, abolatar, when you want to come to purify yourself, the Mishnah says, Mesayin Oisei, we help him. So Gemara in Yuma. So, what does that mean? That Hashem says that even though you have a lot of arrogance, even though you have a lot of ego, Hashem says, just do a little bit of work and I will help you with the rest. Through a person working on his arrogance, so that natural love that he has will go into the inner parts of the heart until the power of the essence of the soul is batal. When shekasa besifra d'tzniusa reish perak aleph zer chelik beis kuf ayin vav omud aleph va'ara is batlas. So b'chinas achoisi now, and this is the level of achoisi that we have been explaining. And then you can come to the level of rayasi. So, in just to recap what we said in Aleph, in the beginning of the Parshas we said, Ki sovaya la'aretz asher ani nesin lachem v'shav sa'aretz. So the Alter Rebbe brings the question of the Mefarshim. It's mashma that right when you come into Eretz Yisrael, you have to keep Shemitah. And then the Pasuk says, Sheish shanim tizar sadecha, that only 6 years, after 6 years, then you keep Shemitah. So which one is it? Were the Yidden commanded to keep Shemitah right away, or was it after 6 years of planting the land? So the Alter Rebbe says, to understand this, we first have to preface what Shloimy HaMelech says in Shir Hashirim, Pischuli Achoisi Rayasi. So that the Eibishter tells the Knesset Yisrael, Pischuli, that in order for the level of Achoisi Rayasi to be revealed, I need Pischuli. Even though the Yidden are always called this level of Achoisi Rayasi, but this love, this connection of Achoisi Rayasi, like we said, Achoisi is Maloshin connecting, Ichui, that when you have two things that come together and they mend together, you don't see the difference between them, that's the level of Achoisi. So Hashem says, you Yidden are Achoisi with me. The problem is that you have the Koyach HaMesaveh, you have the Nefesh HaChiyunis, you have the arrogance to block and conceal this love. They cover it up. And in order for that to be revealed, Hashem is saying, Pischi, just open up for me. Show that you're working on your arrogance. Show that you're working on your challenges. And then Hashem says, I will help you with the rest to get over this. So that's the level of Arayasi. Sorry, that's the level of Achoisi. And now he's going to explain in Beis, we'll do it for 5 minutes, now he's going to explain in Beis what the level of Rayasi is. So he says, Ubir in Rayasi, to explain the level of Rayasi, this is what the Razal tell us, Yisrael mefarnesin alavim shbashamayim, that the Yidden give parnasa, they give sustenance to Hashem. Like it says, Kilo yidach mimenu nidach, that Hashem says no Jew will be left behind. What does it mean? Kilo yidach mimenu nidach mimenu daika. Which is bar makamacha dahainu lishtabe beguf of the malka. This is like to become one with the goof of the king. Now he says, what does that mean? L'haven zeh, to understand eich haneshama shebchinas nivra yesh v'daber b'fnei atzmei tuchal liyishtaba. How is it possible that the neshama, which the neshama is a nivra, could like draw and be one with the goof of the king? How is that possible? So he says, it says in the Zer, it says there's 3 knots that tie together. So you have the Torah with Hashem and you have the Yidden with Hashem. Since the level of Torah is higher than the level of the Neshamas Yisrael from where they come, why? Where does Torah come from? Torah comes from the Chachma of Hashem, which is much higher than V'zo Mashom Razal, and this is what the Gemara says, Ashem Yishabalakan v'Talmud b'yadei, fortunate is the person who has Talmud in his hand. So Torah is the highest level, even in a way higher than the Neshama. To understand this, Torah also encloses itself in physical things. Torah speaks about Torah, the mitzvah. You have a mitzvah of tzitzis, tefillin, the sukkah, which are all physical things. There's also the halachas of monetary damages. You're saying that Torah is even a higher level than the neshama. So, but Torah also encloses itself and speaks about dvarim gashmim, speaks about tzitzis, tefillin, and sukkah, which is all physical mitzvahs, and also different tinuses, different claims of chayshim mishpat. So, what does it have to do with Gan Eden Elyon and Gan Eden Atachtet? He says, it says in Mishlei, he writes, L'chu lachmu b'lachmu. What does it mean? Go my bread with bread. So he says, just like bread. Just like bread. A person lives off bread. So How does a person live off bread? That once the bread actually like swallows itself up in the body, so kach so to Torah shnikras mazin v'chayim lenefesh haruchni, so to Torah is called the food, and the life for the spiritual soul. So so just like it works physically, that in order to the bread to affect you, the bread actually has to be inside your body and actually has to become part of your limbs. So too, Torah, in order for Torah is the Chaim and Mazin for a person. So in order for it to be effective, it has to be swallowed into the limbs of the body. Like he says, v'sharei kipsarei mamish. That it has to be mamish in the actual basar. V'ayidei zeh nefesh toshav al Hashem. So through the Torah going into the nefesh of Hashem, through the Torah going into like the ivori nafshei. So through that, then the neshama will toshav al Hashem, will return to Hashem. The ishtabe begufa the malka, to be like one with the gufa of Hashem. The isnivla begufa the malka mamish, to be mamished, swallowed into the guf of Hashem. Like it says in Shir Hashirim, achalti ya'ardi im divshi, zeo lachmi belachmi, mitchila lachmu. So what does he say? L'chu lachmu belachmi. What does that mean? In the beginning, it's the level of lachmu, his bread. Shi'alachem lechem umazin ibore beivore nafshechem. Why? Because you need to have bread, which means you need to have Torah in order to enclose in your body. And then once Torah is enclosed and it's swallowed into your body just like bread, then it comes to the level from lachmu to the way of lachmi. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow.